Florida sells a simple story. Sunshine, the beach, no state income tax, palm trees swaying like they work for the tourism board, and a lifestyle that looks amazing on Instagram. But in 2026, the fine print matters more than the brochure. Because here's what the brochure forgets to mention. New roofs that hide old, soft decking. Attics that hit 150 degrees in August, basically slow cooking your ductwork. Humidity that punishes cheap windows, weak HVACs, and every flip done with the Home Depot weekend warrior budget. Insurance premiums that swing wildly from one zip code to the next, sometimes by thousands. Elevation, flood zones, wind ratings, seawalls, drainage, condo reserves. In Florida, the water always wins, and the paperwork is the scoreboard. Tonight we're counting down 10 Florida markets where the difference between an easy life and an expensive education comes down to shingles, grading, wind mitigation reports, and whether that brand new AC is actually sized for anything hotter than February. If you're shopping in Florida this year, carry a checklist, not a wish list. And if you like content that saves you money before you spend it, go ahead and subscribe to Housing Data Lab. Let's get into it.
10. Northport and Port Charlotte. All right, starting us off at number 10, Northport and Port Charlotte, the Florida version of North Las Vegas. Newer homes, tempting prices, palm trees doing their best welcome to paradise routine, and a long list of things buyers tend to underestimate. Because down here, if a listing says new roof, what it might mean is new shingles slapped over decking that looks like a Chipotle tortilla. You need photos, documentation, nail patterns, the whole CSI roofing episode. A huge chunk of this market was rebuilt after Hurricane Ian, which means you must verify permits, contractors, and whether the repairs were done by professionals or by my cousin who owns a ladder. HVACs, they run like they're training for a triathlon, all day, every day. So check static pressure, return sizing, duct sealing with actual mastic, not duct tape from the discount bin. A lot of homes run irrigation off wells, and that means iron staining on sidewalks, pumps wearing out early, and sprinkler heads that look like they've seen war. Cute on paper, annoying in real life. And flood zones? They change street to street. Your neighbor might pay $900 a year, while you're paying $4,000 because your elevation certificate is 1 inch less friendly. Insurance also swings wildly. Homes built after 2006 with wind mitigation reports, the carriers love those. Older homes? That's when the underwriter laughs and slides a second page of premiums across the table. And before you get too excited about that screened lanaya, make sure the cage isn't rusting, wobbling, or anchored with the Florida special, aka one screw and a dream. For investors, here's the kicker. A ton of these neighborhoods sit on fill dirt, so settlement cracks happen. And after a big rebuild year, you'll see entire streets with near-identical upgrades, which can mess with your comps. Northport and Port Charlotte can be great, if you inspect like a pessimist and negotiate like you've been burned before.
9. Lakewood Ranch. Coming in at number 9, we've got Lakewood Ranch, Florida's version of Summerlin. Polished, master-planned, perfect lawns, golf carts that cost more than my first car. It's lifestyle living with top schools and rock-solid resale confidence, if you buy smart. But here's where people get surprised. First, the CDD fees. Think of them as Florida's SIDs/LIDs, except they hide in the HOA documents like a boss in a video game. Get the payoff schedule, the remaining balance, and don't let anyone wave it off as just a small fee. Over 30 years, it's not small. Tile roofs? Beautiful, heavy, expensive, and they still need new underlayment around years 15 to 20. So that 25-year roof listing might be technically true and practically misleading. West-facing lanais? They turn into convection ovens at 3 p.m., so make sure the windows have a decent SHGC rating or you'll be paying to air condition the entire Gulf Coast. HOAs and architectural committees here? Let's just say they take their job very seriously. Can I change the paint color? Only if the committee members wake up in a good mood and Mercury isn't in retrograde. Many of the villages ban short-term rentals outright, so if you're dreaming of Airbnb income, check the rules before you grab your calculator. Irrigation overspray is another sneaky one. That mist hitting stucco year after year, it can discolor it, crack it, or turn it into a part-time mold habitat. And because Lakewood Ranch is built around gorgeous stormwater lakes, ask about erosion, shoreline setbacks, and who maintains the banks, HOA or homeowner. One answer is affordable, the other is, surprise, you now own a slice of erosion repair. Before you buy, request the reserve studies for both the Master Association and the sub-HOA. One can look healthy, while the other is quietly planning a special assessment. Lakewood Ranch is fantastic, but only if you know where the fine print lives.
8. The Villages. At number 8, we've got The Villages, Florida's Mesquite, a retirement paradise on the surface and a maintenance scavenger hunt underneath. Because here's the thing, these homes were production built in giant waves, which means they also age in giant waves. Roofs, HVACs, water heaters, everyone needs a replacement at the same time. Great for neighborhood unity, terrible for your wallet if you bought into the low-maintenance lifestyle sales pitch. Humidity here is no joke. Attics run hot, vents run moist, and any ductwork that isn't sealed properly will sweat like it's doing summer cardio. If the attic ventilation isn't dialed in, expect higher electric bills and mystery mildew. Golf course views, stunning. But golf course winds, they destroy cheap windows. Check the DP ratings because the breeze out here has no chill and no mercy. A lot of the 2000s homes still have those poly irrigation lines, the ones that like to crack, leak, and create surprise swamps under your lawn. Not a crisis, but definitely a negotiation point. Before buying, pull the bond assessments and amenity fees. Everyone talks about the fun lifestyle. No one talks about the payments quietly attached to that fun lifestyle. Lanai enclosures? Oh boy. Many were DIY, done by handymen, neighbors, or someone who just got bored on a Tuesday. Permitting can be optimistic. Verify everything. And for insurance, you want that wind mitigation report up front. It's the difference between, oh, that's reasonable, and why is my premium the cost of a used Honda? And don't forget, short-term rentals and amenity districts here operate under strict, very detailed rule books. Break the rules and the community will find you faster than Amazon Prime. The Villages is amazing, if you buy with your eyes open, not just your golf cart dreams.
7. Ocala and Marion County. At number 7, welcome to Ocala and Marion County, Florida's Pahrump. The land is cheap, the space is generous, and the surprises? Oh, they're not generous. They're the opposite of generous. This is one of the few parts of Florida where you can still buy acreage without selling a kidney. But the second you see well and septic, your checklist doubles in size. You want a recent water test, not one from the Obama administration, the age of the pump, and the clear map of the leach field so you don't accidentally build a shed on top of your sewage system like many new owners do. It happens more than you think. Drainage is the silent villain here. Clay soils plus Florida rain equals your yard can turn into a part-time pond. If you see standing water after a storm, imagine it after hurricane season. Manufactured homes are everywhere, which is fine if they have updated tie-downs, proper skirting, and wind ratings that match the county requirements. If they don't, your insurance quote will look like a prank. Pole barns, workshops, detached garages. Beautiful, useful, and very often wired by someone who learned electricity from a 4-minute YouTube video. Check the amperage, the grounding, and whether the sub panel looks like a normal panel or a demonic art project. Livestock zoning changes parcel by parcel. Your neighbor can have 6 goats and a donkey, and your lot can't even have a chicken. So double check before you buy that perfect homestead. And don't sleep on flood zones. Not the big rivers, the tiny creeks, the barely visible drainage cuts, the ones that show up as a blue squiggle on a map. Those are the ones that surprise buyers every year. Ocala is a deal, as long as you inspect like the land is hiding secrets.
Number 6. Tallahassee. Sliding into number 6, we're heading to Tallahassee, Florida's Carson City. A weird mix of rolling terrain, mixed climates, college town chaos, and homes that range from charming 1950s bungalows to, was this addition built in the middle of the night? This city will keep you on your toes. First, steep roofs plus leaves. Tallahassee gets real seasons. Trees, shade, actual fall foliage, and that means debris piling up in roof valleys like it's trying to build a nest. So you must check the flashing, check the valleys, and make sure water actually knows where to go. A ton of homes here have crawl spaces. That's fine, if they have vapor barriers, proper ventilation, and aren't harboring humidity levels that qualify as their own microclimate. A wet crawl space is basically a subscription plan for mold. Termites? Oh, they've been busy. Assume nothing. Get a termite bond and a recent inspection because older neighborhoods here have stories, usually told through tiny chew marks. A lot of older homes have additions, extra bedrooms, enclosed porches, bonus rooms, and the ductwork. Let's just say air distribution is sometimes a vibes-based system. You want to confirm duct balance and return placement so the new room doesn't feel like an Arctic outpost in winter and a sauna in July. When sellers brag about double-pane windows, ask for impact ratings. Double pane doesn't mean hurricane ready. It just means there are 2 panes. Big difference. Near major roads and campus zones, noise can be intense. Do a rush hour window test. Don't discover after closing that your bedroom sounds like a NASCAR live stream. And insurance? Tallahassee carriers love changing the rules. Wind mitigation, roof age, 4-point requirements, it shifts constantly. So get quotes early, not after you're already emotionally attached. Tallahassee rewards smart buyers. Just don't skip the crawl space, ever.
5. Cape Coral. Next up, Cape Coral, Florida's version of Henderson. It's beautiful, it's sunny, it's full of water views, and it will absolutely destroy your wallet if you don't understand the engineering behind all that tropical ambiance. Because here's the truth. In Cape Coral, the canals aren't just pretty. They're flood zones with personality. If the home touches water, you need a seawall inspection. Not a vibe check, an actual professional telling you the age, the tieback condition, and whether the thing is quietly plotting to collapse into the canal. Most roofs here have been replaced after past storms, but don't assume they were replaced correctly. You want photos, nailing patterns, underlayment, decking. If the seller doesn't have documentation, that's a red flag waving in Category 3 winds. Short-term rentals? Don't trust Facebook groups or your cousin's ex-roommate. Cape Coral's RSTR rules vary by zone, and the city map is the only source that matters. Solar is everywhere. Owned, leased, PPA'd, pick your flavor. Just make sure you understand transfer fees, panel age, and whether the inverter is closer to efficient or elderly. Pools? Oh yeah, practically every house has one. But the equipment ages fast in salt air. Heaters, salt cells, automation boards, they burn out like they're training for the Olympics. Budget for replacements. Elevation certificates are non-negotiable here if you don't want insurance to pull a surprise uppercut on your premiums. And check the grading. A lot of Cape Coral lots are flat, which looks nice but turns your yard into a surprise lake after a heavy rain. Last thing, look for settlement around the pool and the cage. If something's sinking, lean in. You're about to find out how expensive concrete can be. Cape Coral is stunning, but it's one of those markets where you either inspect like a maniac or you pay for it later.
4. Jacksonville/St. Johns County. Now we're heading to Jacksonville and St. Johns County, Florida's version of Sparks. Explosive growth, endless new phases, and comps so tight they practically squeak. Here's the thing nobody tells you. In these big master plan communities, entire phases hit the market at the exact same time. That means appraisers don't care about your upgraded backsplash or the fact that your driveway is 3 feet wider. They are glued, super glued, to the builder's model comps. If you overpay, you're the one creating the comp, and congratulations, now everyone hates you. A lot of homes here use hardy board, which is great if it's nailed correctly and painted on schedule. If it's not, you get swelling, cracking, and a repair bill that looks like it came from a luxury resort. Stucco? Controlled joints must be sealed, especially in this lovely Florida humidity where moisture sneaks in like it's trying to join a secret club. And then there's the weather. Everyone thinks hurricanes are the big threat, but in Jacksonville, nor'easters are the stealth boss battle. Wind loads here beat up patio covers, fences, cheap shingles, basically anything you thought was good enough. Drainage is another plot twist. High water tables plus heavy rains mean your swales and French drains aren't nice to have. They're the only thing preventing your backyard from becoming a community pond. For newer builds, verify the low E window ratings and the home's air leakage score. Some builders brag about energy efficient like it's a personality trait, but the documentation tells the real story. Also, why are the garages here so short? If you drive a full-size truck, be prepared for a hilarious moment where you pull in, stop, measure, try again, and eventually accept that the garage is now just your gym. One more plot twist. Radon exists here. Yes, even in Florida. Ask for a recent test. If the home has solar, just know production dips in the winter because the sun angle is low. Plan accordingly instead of blaming the panels for being lazy. And investors, yeah, you, underwrite conservative rents and include seasonal vacancy. This market looks hot, but it can soften fast when thousands of nearly identical homes hit the market together. Jacksonville is booming,
but it rewards buyers who slow down, inspect everything, and don't fall for the "it's new, so it must be perfect" trap.
Number 3, Orlando and Orange County. Next stop, Orlando in Orange County, Florida. Florida's Reno, where tourism, tech, and weather all meet up like they're having a family reunion, and everyone brought drama. Let's start with the roofs. Orlando roofs don't age, they retire early. Between the heat, UV, and surprise thunderstorms, you absolutely want to know the details. What decking was used? What underlayment? How many nails per shingle? If the seller says, the roofer handled it, that means you should handle requesting photos, permits, and documentation. HVACs here get work like they're training for the Olympics, running 10 to 11 months a year. In flips, people love slapping in the wrong size system. Oversized units cool fast but don't dehumidify, so your house feels like a cold swamp. Undersized units just give up by noon. Request load calculations. Yes, an actual manual J, not my uncle installs ACs. Drainage matters too. Those massive summer storms, they dump water so fast your backyard can turn into a temporary lake with waterfront views you did not pay for. Check swales, grading, and whether water is supposed to flow onto your lot or through your lot. Now, wildfire isn't a huge concern here, but lightning is. Orlando is practically the lightning capital of the U.S., so ask about whole home surge protection. You don't want a $40,000 electronics meltdown because the sky sneezed. Appraisals? Tight. Like, don't get too excited about your upgrades tight. Even if you're close to major attractions, appraisers still stick to the neighborhood comps. Humidity control is another big one. If the home has an ERV or HRV, make sure it actually works because Orlando humidity is relentless. You're not managing comfort, you're fighting a moisture war. If the property backs a conservation area, verify who is responsible for erosion control. Sometimes it's the HOA, sometimes it's you, and sometimes it's no one, which is the scariest version. Pools? Great, but screen enclosures take a beating. Check the anchoring, check for rust, check the age of the screen. A cheap enclosure will rattle in storms like it's trying to detach itself. Windows should have proper low-E coatings and DP ratings that match local wind zones. Storm-resistant can mean a lot of things, some of them meaningless. And if you're an investor running STRs, remember, Orlando has shoulder seasons. Spring slowdowns are real. Disney magic doesn't automatically fill your calendar. Orlando is incredible, vibrant, fun, and full of opportunity, but only if you look past the theme parks and dig into the details that actually protect your money.
2. Welcome to Miami-Dade, Florida's paradise plus enterprise, where the economy is strong, the expectations are high, and the rules are written in all caps. This is the part of Florida where sunshine and opportunity collide with paperwork, inspectors, and insurance reps who never seem to be in a good mood. First, if you're thinking about short-term rentals here, stop, breathe, then read the rules. And not just one set. You need the city rules, the county rules, and the condo rules, because Miami-Dade is the land of technically you can, but actually you can't. Now let's talk about windows. Impact windows aren't optional. They're survival gear. But don't just take impact rated as an answer. Ask for the NOA, the Notice of Acceptance, because without that document, you're basically trusting your home to whatever the salesperson said on a Tuesday morning. Roofs here? Lots of flat roofs. And flat roofs don't forgive neglect. You want to know the date of the last elastomeric coating, and you want deck photos. If a seller can't produce pictures of the decking, assume nothing was inspected and everything was guessed. Insurance. Insurance is the #1 wild card in Miami. Premiums swing based on wind, flood, roof age, and whether the insurance company woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Get quotes early, like before you get emotionally attached to the kitchen backsplash. Many older homes from the 1960s through the 1980s still have cast iron sewer lines. These lines do not age gracefully. They clog, crack, rust, and occasionally impersonate a geyser. Get a sewer scope, no exceptions. Drainage matters too. Miami doesn't get rain. Miami gets sky waterfalls. If the yard doesn't drain, you're basically living in a temporary pond. And don't expect appraisals to reward your close-to-the-beach dreams. Miami appraisers hold comps tighter than TSA holds liquids. If you're looking at condos, request reserve studies. Request the special assessment history. Request anything that looks like a financial report, because condo towers here age like luxury cars, beautiful but expensive when parts fail. West-facing elevations, they get roasted. Your AC and your windows take a beating every afternoon. Electrical panels matter too. Some older brands are now uninsurable, meaning the first thing your insurance carrier will say is replace it or no policy. And here's the kicker. Miami lot elevations can vary by just a few inches, but those inches can change your flood premium by thousands. Miami-Dade is incredible, vibrant, powerful, full of opportunity, but only if you do your homework. Here, flood maps and insurance quotes are mandatory reading, right up there with crime maps and cafecito reviews.
1. Last but not least, Florida statewide. Because in 2026, the entire state is the headline, and the fine print is longer than the realtor's property description. Florida sells sunshine. Insurance companies sell reality. And this year, the fundamentals matter more than the palm trees. Let's start with the roofs, because in Florida, the roof is the insurance policy. Architectural shingles, that doesn't automatically mean impact rated. You want the nailing pattern, the permit history, and the exact age. If the seller says it was replaced after the storm, ask which storm. Florida has had many. Tile roofs look great, but the weak point is the underlayment. Tile can last 50 years. Underlayment lasts 15 to 20 if you're lucky. If the home is older than the playlist you used in college, that underlayment is probably due. Attics here get hotter than a parked car in August. 140 to 160 degrees isn't uncommon. In that environment, ducts leak unless they're sealed, masticed, strapped, and inspected. A cool vent doesn't mean a healthy system. Ask for static pressure readings. Insurance underwriters used to ask, how old is the roof? Now, they want wind mitigation reports, 4-point inspections, roof photos, nail counts, and the name of the person who installed it. Okay, maybe not the last one, but it feels close. Flood risk? Every buyer should know the difference between AE, VE, and X zones, and you should know what your elevation certificate actually means. Two houses on the same street can have wildly different premiums. Older areas across the state still have cast iron sewer lines. These things are the Roman ruins of Florida real estate. You need a sewer scope every time. Drainage is another statewide theme. Swales, downspouts, grading. Florida has intense rainfall events. If the yard doesn't slope away from the house, congratulations, you've bought a seasonal pond. Stucco cracks near windows? They're not cosmetic. They're moisture invitations. Seal them, or Florida's humidity will move in and start charging rent. STR laws, wildly inconsistent. You can go from no problem to absolutely not in a 5-minute drive. HOAs here don't play around either. Before you buy, read violations, fine schedules, architectural rules, and anything labeled adopted 2023 or later, because many communities got stricter. Solar? Great. But make sure you have rapid shutdown devices, proper flashing, and an inverter warranty longer than the honeymoon phase. Winter pool heating costs surprise a lot of newcomers. If the pool is central to your life plan, ask for automation logs and runtime data. Lot elevation compared to curb elevation is a big deal statewide. Stormwater needs somewhere to go, and ideally that somewhere is not your living room. Florida also has inconsistent underground utility depths depending on the county. Before any digging, fencing, landscaping, or root removal, call 811. They will save your life, your wallet, and your Wi-Fi. And last, many mid-2000s homes still have 100 to 125 amp electrical panels. That was fine pre-EV world. If you plan to charge a car, run a hot tub, or upgrade anything electrical, you may need a service upgrade. Florida is incredible, opportunity-packed, beautiful, and full of places to build a great life. But in 2026, success here belongs to people who inspect everything, question everything, and assume nothing.